We're now running for 10 years. We are a fully self-funded charity. We don't work with any donations from the government. So all your donations are very welcome. As you'll see, the buckets around and people jingling their buckets as a kind of a hint to everyone. I'll just talk about the four main areas of what we do. So at the moment we have 4 pillars. It's been the 4 pillars of the 100 Black Men of London for the last 10 years. One of them is the community mentoring program. So we run some mentoring schemes for parents as well as for kids. They run on Saturdays in North London and South London, and we also have one opening in the near future in East London as well. Another one of our programs is the health and well-being program, in how we try and talk about health issues for men and for families and everybody in general. And then we also talk about economic development. So how can we, as black people in the UK, build up our income, build up our money and manage our money to become more successful. And the last one is education. Now under that pillar of education is the book club, which you obviously all here for tonight. The next thing I wanted to just talk about is the registration. So for those who didn't register online, there is a registration desk just over here by the fire exit. We're very grateful if you could register your details, email addresses, and in doing so you'll be aware of up and coming events. So we have some events which we'll talk about later on this evening, but we try and run some events throughout the year. The book club, we're hoping to start off being a quarterly event, and we have some other conferences which you'll see the flyers for on your desks, on your seats even. Okay, so what is this book club and why was it set up? Well, the book club we decided to create as one intimate affair. It kind of grew. We were expecting to start off with maybe 40, 50, 60, and then as the registrations went up, we saw that this was quite an important event. So overall, we've registered about 120 people, which was quite a good for our first event. We have some plans for the future. As I said, we're trying to make this a quarterly event, and also on the questionnaires that we have floating around, we also want to get your feedback on the type of books that you guys like to read and also want to review as well. So this is very much a collaborative effort. It's not very much that we're just going to stick a book out and say, let's all do this book. It's very much about what you enjoy reading, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a fiction. It could be non-fiction. We're trying to cover quite a broad cross-section. So as we said, we're trying to do this as a quarterly event, and today obviously is the very first. So moving on, we have some speakers and some poets to start off the evening. Our first one is a hip-hop poet called Black Light, and we also have Young, Gifted and Black, which are 3 people from Oakland. And we're going to start off first, I'm hoping he's here already, is Black Light. So if you can give him a round of applause. There you go.
Everybody feeling? Whoa. How's everybody feeling? That's not good enough. How's everybody feeling? I'm gonna try it one more time. How's everybody feeling? Alright, that's what's happening, that's what's happening. They put me up here first. I don't know who told them to, I don't know what happened. But my name is Prince Ophir, and I'm a dedicated member of the Divine Jerusalem Brotherhood, located in Israel. And in the back you'll see the album out. It's called Black Light. It's a positive hip-hop mixed with R&B, mixed with some poetry, some spoken word on there. So you can see that afterwards. But I'm gonna do maybe 2 selections.
If you feel that they are free, raise your hand. Wow. I need to deal with y'all. All right, we'll talk about that after. We'll talk about that after. But this here is called freedom. I need everybody to say we. We. Nah, that wasn't everybody. Everybody say we need the black light. We need the black light. Freedom is when you're not caught up in religion, but you believe in God like the science to a ceiling to protect you from the rain and the storm, evil sinning, and you eat angels' food cause you're out of hell's kitchen. Truth documentaries, I don't shoot fiction. 777 and I am never sixing. Freedom's my girl, Ryan Leslie addiction. Guess it's win-win, you can dismiss sickness. Slaves not hanging from the master's picnic. Poor ain't dying while the rich cash paychecks. Fighting for the thing that killed Luther the King. It's hard to explain how I'm living out his dream. You could wish it never came, you could wash away the pain. But freedom ain't free, you gotta work to maintain. Crack the window open, let some fresh air in. Forgiveness transform any enemy to friend. I said we need the black light. Say we need the black light. Let me y'all say that one more time. Y'all ain't giving me your energy. Freedom is when you out the hood so blessed. The girls dress modest and the boys no gaps. The fathers work hard and the mothers don't stress. I am merciless when I'm taking out threats to my freedom. I'm so free, I got a prince on my text. I'm wealthy, not rich, you could call that success. Freedom is when you do whatever you want. Who do whatever they want? Who do whatever they want? Raise your hand. One person do whatever they want. Two. Two people do whatever they want. Let me hear you say we need the black light. Say we need the black light. Alright, let me use a round of applause on that one. The second one I'm doing for y'all is called Life. It goes something like this. Life is twisted like a wedding ring. The beauty of the rock, yet the cost is obscene. The loss of a dream. Work your way upriver, then you push downstream. Tell me what it all means. Should I call up God, the source of all things? The pastor say he did, yet nothing's what it seems. It seems to believe that in him we believe. Who believe in him? Who believe in the pastor?
I don't know. Not the pastor. Not the pastor.
Who believe in the pastor? Nobody believe in the pastor. Then everybody here, nobody believe in the pastor.
Which pastor?
Oh, dang, I don't know his name. I'm sorry. All right, y'all. Check this out. It's time for the black man to wake up and rise. They say you wasn't equal, it was just as disguise. They try to keep you from ascending to the sky. Toughen up, soldier, don't let them see you cry. Keep your head up when you get fed up. Keep crying out freedom, boy, never let up. Cause this world ain't your home. Like a job you been working, but promotion's way gone. Haters running this bank and they ain't giving no loans. Tell your girl it's the same sad song. This ain't the same sad song. Cause life is twisted like a wedding ring. The beauty of the rock, yet the cost is obscene. The loss of a dream. I said the loss of a dream. Everybody who have a dream, raise your hand. Oh, yeah. This is the black light. Never lose your dream. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Black Light. Okay, I just wanted to also introduce one of our authors that are here this evening, Alex Wheatle. I'm sure you're all here to... I'm sure you'd like to say a couple of words for the audience. Sorry to put you on the spot like this.
Glad to be here. It's been a busy week. I've been
inundated with interview requests from all over the world because of what's happened in London. I was on Al Jazeera Tuesday, BBC World. I've written articles for the Evening Standard and a Guardian, but it's nice to be here in front of a London crowd. It really is.
Thank you, Alex. And we also have Tommie Smith, who's going to be... Okay, before we move on to that, we have another act for you, Young, Gifted and Black. Give them a round of applause. They're all from Oakland, California.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? All right. My name is Adari Davis. I run an organization called Young, Gifted and Black in association with Tommie Smith and the 100 Black Men of Oakland, California. We're very happy to be here, very happy to be hosted by some tremendous hosts here. Brother Coonley has been kind of taking us around and hooking us up. And so this is Jasiri Asabi Shakir, and this is Obasi Davis, and they have a poetic performance for you. Young, Gifted and Black, we use history, we use poetry to teach African American history. That's basically what we do. So what you'll hear them do will span about 100 years of African American history, as well as they'll read some of their own pieces that they've written. You know, I don't want to take any of their thunder, so boom.
To be young, gifted, and black. Oh, what a lovely, precious feeling. To be young, gifted, and black. Open your hearts to what I'm meaning. In the whole world, you know, there are billions of boys and girls who are young, gifted, and black. And that's a fact. Who can be born black and not sing the wonder of it? The joy, the challenge. Who can be born black and not exult? We have been born black and sing the wonder of it. The joy, the challenge. We have been born black and exult. I've known rivers, ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood and human veins. My soul has grown deep, like the rivers. I bathed in the Euphrates when dawns were young. I built my hut near the Congo when it lulled me to sleep. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. I heard the singing of the Mississippi when Abe Lincoln went down to New Orleans, and I've seen its muddy bosom turn all golden in the sunset. I've known rivers, ancient, dusky rivers. My soul has grown deep, like the rivers. This is not Jordan River. There lies not Canaan. There is still one more wide river to cross. This is the Mississippi. And the stars tell us only that this is not the road. We do not know if any have reached that Canaan. We have received no word. Behind us, the belling pack. Beyond them, the hunters. Before us, the dismal swamp. We do not know. We exchange Louisiana for Mississippi, merely Georgia and Florida, Carolina and Tennessee, Mississippi. We have leapt from swampland to marshes. We have roamed through to blood-red clay, to gravel and rock, to the baked lands, to the scorched barrens, and we grow footsore and muscle-weary. Our faces grow sullen and our hearts grow numb. We do not know if there lies that Canaan. We know only that this is not Jordan River. Still are we motherless children. Still are we dragging travelers alone and a long ways from home. Still with our heads pillowed upon a rock. Still with the hard earth as our folding bed. And still with one more river. Oh, one wide river to cross. So we would like to perform some of the pieces that we've written. And so yeah. This one. So I'm gonna perform one, and he is go back and forth. So this one is written about where I'm from, Oakland, California. So yeah. In my city, we stuff soulless angels with bullets, stained and crusted with the blood of our brothers. We make mothers cry and shatter the backs of our fathers. We merciless sons of the heavens carve tombstones early into our future in my city. We hide under oak trees passing joints like hot potatoes. We rape guns and strip search knives in order to feel more like men. We kill for pleasure. We are the reason that angels return to the heavens, battered and bloody. We will hang you with our golden halos and snap your necks with our majestic wings. My city is the most dangerous city in California. This land runs brown with ignorance and burgundy with rusty blood. Bullet shells keep our insides warm, while on the outside, rusty red concrete armor encase our broken bodies. We build masterpieces with the fallen dignities of our sisters. Can you hear us mourning? The bitter, salty tears of grandmothers who've outlived their grandchildren turn these streets into oceans. Tread carefully, because this land is slick with the blood of heavenly sons and daughters. Do you recognize this city's divinity? The way we hold our heads up as if we had armies at our backs, or the way we still smile when the world is bursting inside of us. We don't show our pain. Instead, we swallow it in order to not be judged. Can you find our beauty? Hidden within the excessive layers of clothes and bravado. We've grown roses from rose-colored concrete. We pick freedom from bullet wounds and plant seeds of brotherhood inside thoughts of hate. Can you see our smiles? Semicircles of light that remind you of God. We can make you see God in our mouths. Have you seen the fires that dance majestically behind our irises? I want you to recognize that we are beautiful. Don't be fooled by the mask that we have been forced to wear or be blind to our progress and our growth. I want you to witness our greatness. Our music will make your heartbeat align with the beats that we spit over, and the words that we speak will caress your souls. Our music comes from our souls only to caress yours. Have you seen the tags and bombs on the side of the decimated buildings that show you that these streets are still alive with creativity and swag? In Oakland, we have swag, so forget your stereotypes and your misperceptions, because we are beautiful, and beauty deserves to be recognized.
How you guys doing tonight? Yeah. That's good. I'm gonna read you guys a poem. I'm just Siri, like he introduced me as, and I'm gonna read you a poem called Skin Tone. Look at my skin tone. Now brainstorm. Piss poor, considered an American project. Dejected by the rest and sent to the projects with nothing to live for. Projectiles with short trajectories, life expectancies, and test positive only for STDs, like incompetent, incapable, test dummies, and refugees. Black people shouldn't be from Africa. We should be from Alaska, so the weather correlates with our education. Sub-degree. I mean, look at my skin tone. I'm not going to Morehouse next year. I'm not planning to major in business administration. I'm not really performing a poem right now. This is actually a white man in blackface. Or maybe I stole this. A Negro couldn't possibly write coherently. Look at my skin tone. I mean, he's of a species, tall in nature, ape-like, lazy, often causes mayhem, crazy, scarcely 3/5 of evolved chimps. Of a species better off chained, whipped, and slaving, or naked hanging. I mean, he's of a species commonly poetic, or rather rhythmic. Commonly athletic, the quickest distance, yet barred from entrance into your family-owned business. And if a specimen shall think different, he's kindly rehabilitated and assisted with a prison sentence. This species is genetically rudimentary and statistically less fortunate. So the more of them that are subordinate, the more we are socio-normative. I mean, look at our skin tone. We should be scoring the winning touchdowns in the end zone or shooting the buzzer-beating field goals rather than typing mementos or having world views more broad than continental. The truth is, I do different just to prove this. Young man standing in front of you is more than that dancing funny dude. And actually, academically, is one of my strongest suits. I plan to graduate from grad school with more degrees of education than there are degrees of separation. So look at my skin tone. It is as if life is a race, and our race happens to be placed half a mile behind the start line, but we are here. We are the Tommie Smiths of life's Olympics, running twice the distance with twice the quickness, trying to find the finish, and realizing that this is just a pit stop. We've reached the final lap. Good luck.
So I'm going to do one more piece that I've written. So, we've been running, sprinting deep into the woods of our lacerated lineage. Feet ache. We've been running away from cotton-filled plantations, kin caught in melanin-filled plantations. Yes, we've been running. Dashing through forests that mock our divinity. Kings and queens shouldn't have to hide in trees like shy primates. Swiftly dived into the assaults of our mothers. Our backs throb because of flayed flesh, flayed fresh. They sprinkled salt on our bleeding wounds, but the pain is nothing compared to our mother's bleeding wounds. Unkempt blood flowing from our fathers' tombs. They used to paint the skies with our blood as the flowers bloom. So give us room so that we can run. Maneuvering through the salty rivers of your children's tears, were you watching as they evolved from giving us whip scars to bullet wounds, turn us from eloquent revolutionaries to incompetent coons, but we are still running. Moving gracefully to the beat of a drum, we let our feet guide us through the rhythms of our shattered history. We create cultures through our mastery of this oppressive language, but out here, revolutionary microphones quickly become tombstones, so we run. Sprinting from our past, memories of forgotten princes and unforgotten lynchings back when they put death to my people. Now we put death to ourselves. We've been continuously running away from our own cannibalism. What's wrong when newborn babies fall asleep to the lullabies of police sirens and melodic gunshots? This must be why we can't stand silence. We run from silence, struggling to get away from violence, but it's hard to escape these ghetto asylums. They pit us against ourselves, so like crabs, we always hold each other back, too weary to attack, but we are black, so we run. Even though we've got one on top, there's still millions who are bound by locks and even more who are tracked by cops. I just wish that we would be able to stop. We are exhausted. A lot of us have already lost it, given in to these hellish madhouses that we've been forced to call home, but we are all afraid to go through this alone. Can you see how swiftly our muscles shift or how quickly our feet move? We've been running so long that we've become experts. Our legs are so strong that you once thought we had extra muscles in our bodies that made us better adapt for moving. Have you realized how good we have gotten at moving? But just because we are good at it does not mean that we are not tired. Does not mean that I am not tired of sprinting to get a hold of the closing doors of my future. But if I stop, I know I will have no chance at a future, and it is harder to hit a moving target, so I run for my future. We run for our future. We are your future, and we are tired of running. Thank you. We have one more song. We have a song for you guys this time. It's by Run DMC. It's called and James Brown. And it's called "Proud to Be Black." So yeah. I am young, gifted, and black. In fact, I am proud to be black. Let me say it again. I am young, gifted, and black. In fact, I am proud to be black. Let me say, I'm proud to be black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. And if you're trying to take what's mine, I take it back, y'all. It's like that, y'all. I'm getting brave, y'all. I'd rather die than ever be a slave, y'all. Proud to be black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. And if you're trying to take what's mine, I take it back, y'all. It's like that, y'all. And I can see, y'all. I'd rather die than not be free. So check it. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. I can't hear you. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. I gotta tell you something that you should know. It's not a mystery, it's history, it's how it goes.
Now Harriet Tubman was born and raised. She was living to be given as a lot she gave. She risked her life so we wouldn't be slaves.
There was a man named inventor who invented so well. He invented a fortune for a man named Bill. George Washington Carver made the peanut great. Showed any man what a mind can create. You read about Malcolm X in the history text. Jesse Owens broke records, I leave broke next. What's wrong with you now? Could you be so dumb? Like Dr. King said, we shall overcome. We are young, gifted, and black. In fact, I am proud to be black. Let me say it again. We are young, gifted, and black. In fact, I am proud to be black. Let me say, I'm proud to be black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. And if you're trying to take what's mine, I take it back, y'all. It's like that, y'all. I'm getting brave, y'all. I'd rather die than ever be a slave, y'all. Proud to be black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. And if you're calling me a nigga, take it back, y'all. I'm better than that, y'all. And I can see, y'all. I'd rather die than not be free. So check it. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
Thank you very much, young, gifted, and black. Hopefully it wasn't that bad. just one more announcement. If you'd like to find some more information about the 100, there's a table just over here with loads of leaflets on it. Feel free to take one. There's also, that's how you can also sign up for our mailing list. Okay, I'm done with the announcements now. I'd like to introduce our VP of Programs, of which the book club comes under. His name is Collar, and he's going to be running through the session with Alex. So if you can give it up for Collar, please.
What was that?
Well,
Too loud. No, just talk softly, man. Talk softly. Talk softly.
I'm not going to rap noise. When we were planning this, we sat in the room and thought, okay, books. When we were planning this, we sat in a room together and we thought, okay, it's books, it's during the week, maybe a bit of poetry. What do we think about numbers? You know the number that we kind of conservatively penciled in? 50 to 75. 50 to 75. There's much more than that here today. I want to thank you. I want you guys to give a shout out. With all the madness that's going on, this is something positive. This is something real. This is something that says that is not everything. That is not even anything. This is what we are. We're here to talk about books. Books! Isn't that fantastic? Before we get into that, I want to introduce someone very, very special. Someone who has inspired many of us. Some people who don't even really know so much about him have been inspired by his story. And someone who has been a dear friend to the 100 Black Men movement for many, many years. You've already heard him introduced, so it's no secret. Dr. Tommie Smith. On behalf of the 100 Black Men of London, we want to thank you, Dr. Smith, for being here today, for taking the time to come. I know your schedule is extremely busy, so taking the time to come here. And I just want to ask you, are you proud to see this?
Very much so. Very much so. When I walked in, I said, wow. I first looked to the left and I said, nice books. Then I looked to the right and I said, oh, that's what these books are written about. So I'm very happy to see you here, all bright, smiley faces, especially the little ones. Shake my hand.
Wow.
That's our future. Although he was wearing copper, that's okay. You wear your copper all long you want to. I'll give you a pair of Pumas before I leave. Okay? Okay. Very, very proud to be here, folks. And there's a lot of things that I could say, but I don't know how much time I have, so I won't take very much of your time. What you saw here tonight from Oakland, California, has come through dedication. Come from information of those of us who have gone a little beyond where they have come from. And I take pride in through the justification of sacrifice. And Lord have mercy, if you believe in those words, I have done my portion of suffering. And I'm going to give it along to you. You want some suffering? Silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. Now I always mention about faith. I know some of you don't believe in it, what faith is. That's what kept me alive, going through my life in the cotton fields in Texas, all the way up through the high school and college age, all the way up to the Olympic Games. You'll never see Tommie Smith hold his head down one time. And that was on the victory stand in Mexico City. And I was praying for the ignorance of those who didn't know the wiseness of my being up there in the first place, but I still prayed for them. Faith, faith, which is the substance of things hoped for. And
Evidence of things not seen.
but without work, faith is dead. So no matter how much you think you have up here, and don't usually put it out there, you are about as dead as the person laying in a coffin who can't breathe. So you're taking up air. No, I'm not radical. I didn't do anything to radicalize myself in Mexico City. I stood up for a cause. But they asked me, well, man, why did you do that then? You know, we was there for get the gold medal. Hell with a gold medal if you can't do nothing with your soul once you get back to the states or the cities where you were supposed to be somebody. So I was relegated to less than, vilified as a crazy man who lost a whole lot of money. But what's money without pride? That's right. I wrote a book called Silent Gesture. And I was asked long before I wrote the book, tell me, man, why don't you write a book, man? You can make a whole lot of money. Oh, that sounds real good. Oh, money sound good? It's good. But there's more to me than money. It was a life of those who had less than, created to do more than, but not a platform to stand. Right after that platform, I was asked, why did you do this? I said emphatically to Howard Cosell, I did it because there are those who were more to life to me, had no platform to do it. So I was proud to dedicate my life, my challenge, the gold medal to those who had golden lives gone long before me, but had no platform. You heard what our prolific poets talked about? Sojourner? Gary Tillman? They're in the embryonic stages of life, but they studied to become somebody. And I want my challenging force that keeps me alive to come up here. I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to stay up too long. Make black wings. Make your way around here. Come on up here. These are some of the people. We have a mindful group in Oakland, California, who have no choice but to study and produce. And I want the coach to let the black wings come also. We have, Dr. Alexander, would you take front stage here, please? Because this is the man that got me started into what you see now, and it has grown from 2 or 3 to in one city to about 5,400 into 4 states. I take pride in these forces because they will keep me alive. And what keeps me alive is because they believe. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. So you see their believing. Dr. Alexander, would you continue here? I don't want to do my wife's telling me right now, stop preaching, stop preaching. This is Dr. Mark Alexander. He is an epidemiologist from the Kaiser Foundation, and he's been with me for a long time. He's also the president of the Bay Area chapter of 100 Black Men, and he is on the national committee of the 100 Black Men on national level in the United States. Thank you, Dr. Alexander.
Thank you, Brother Tommy, and thank you all for coming out. We're delighted to be here and to be received by our community here in London. I want to thank Brother Kola, Brother Olu. I want to thank Brother Kunle for all of the great work they've done in hosting and supporting the programs that we have. We are doing this work because our communities, our cities have turned their backs on our children. Everybody thinks that there's something functionally wrong with our kids. There's nothing wrong with them. We've let our children down. In Oakland, California, a lot of our children are being put on high blood pressure medication in elementary school because they aren't eating the right types of foods. They're not getting structured exercise. They're suffering from a lack of character development. And all of it, it's not because they were born this way. They were given to us wonderful gifts from God, and we've let them become corrupted. We've got to band together as communities and provide services for our kids so that they can be healthy, happy, and productive citizens. We're in the process of building our first of 5 schools that we plan to build, where we're going to develop excellent children. And we are looking forward to working with our brothers in the 100 in London so that we can show our kids the beautiful black children that live in the United Kingdom. We want to take them around the world and let them know that they are truly members of a global community. This world is shrinking every day, and we want them to have ownership in the world, and we want to be able to fellowship with all of the beautiful children that we see here in London, England. So thank you for having us, and we look forward to developing stronger programs. We look forward to bringing some of those children over to children from the UK over to California, and learn about the things that we're doing, and we can get them to share ideas, give them permission to dream. Thank you very much.
Are they prolific academians, but they're also athletically inclined. I like to put that there, put the academics first. Y'all hear that? We also came over, we just finished competing in the IC, you see what I'm talking about? The International Children's Games held in Scotland last week.
Yeah.
And that is the Olympic Games for youth. And we scored, we took second place in the overall 4x1. I'll close it out with the biggest person on the team. Coach Nola, call her Coach N-O-L-A.
I'm Coach Nola Janage, and I'm the coach of these girls as well as one of the coaches of the 100 Black Men program, where we have 10 to 15 youth track teams that come together every Saturday morning from January through May for life skills workshops. They have breakfast together, and then we do some training. So it's not just about track and field and athletics. We also want to focus on developing life skills and nutrition. We have two of the girls here.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Jenkins.
Fourth place overall in the 100 meters. John finished second overall in the 100.
Hi, I'm Talia Silas.
Talia was too old. The International Children's Game, its ages 12 to 15. She turned 16 a couple of months too early. She's on the trip as our ambassador. Kind of make it.
Hi, I'm Naisha Pierce. Hi, my name is Amanda Warhoos. Hi, my name is Samaya Shabazz. My name is Kiana Village.
Now, I didn't stop you. I want the members of the 4x1 relay to step forward. These are the girls who finished second overall in the 4x1. Kiana Bella, on the other end, is an exceptional long jumper. We hope to see all of these kids, but also see her in the Olympics one day. Her best jump is how long?
16 feet, 5 inches.
Thank you very kindly, and we will continue moving forward proactively.
We do plan to have a Tommie Smith meet in Paris next year, so we hope to see some of your children running in that meet.
Okay.
Thank you very much, thank you very much. Can I say a special thank you, actually, you saw him earlier, to Dr. Mark Alexander, who is president of the Bay Area chapter. He's been a special friend to the 100 Black Men of London. We appreciate you coming out, Mark. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on. It's a book club. Let's talk about books. Devil in a Blue Dress. How many people actually got it, read it?
Got it reading.
Got it, reading it? It's a very easy read. It's a very easy read. In fact, it's deceptively easy. It's deceptively easy because when you go through it, it seems like just a simple, straightforward detective novel or private investigation novel. But actually it's layered and layered with lots and lots of issues and images and, you know, concepts that actually when you go into it and when you kind of study it a bit more, it starts to have different layers, different layers. Now we sent out a questionnaire for everyone who registered online. We sent out a questionnaire. And we also said that the first question we were going to discuss was the question of Easy Rawlings. Now, Easy Rawlings, if I give you, for those who haven't read the book or indeed seen the movie, we'll show a little clip of it. The story is about a guy called Easy Rawlings. He's a black war hero in 1940s Los Angeles. So that's the setting. So we're talking about before Martin Luther King, all that kind of stuff, before civil rights movement, before Dr. Tommie Smith, in terms of, you know, the Olympics and what he did. So it's that kind of period of time where being black was hazardous. You might say how much has changed. But being black was hazardous, as in, and some of the issues touch on it in the book, it was life-threatening just to be black, not to talk of actually doing anything wrong or being in trouble. And it's a story about Easy Rawlings. When the book opens, he's down on his luck, he's just lost his job, he doesn't know what's going on, and one of his friends introduces him to a white man called Dwight Albright, who has a job for him. And the job involves finding a lady who is the devil in the blue dress. She is the devil in the blue dress. And the story features him going through the book, looking for the lady, trying to find it for the person, getting involved in the lady, and all the things that kind of go with that. And it's a search for him. He's trying to find himself, trying to find his soul, trying to find the woman, trying to see, is she a devil, is she not a devil? There's so many issues. They're just layered and layered. It's the kind of book that you could read 3 or 4 times and find something different each time. So the first question we asked, and we sent it out, and even if you haven't read it or seen the movie, you'll still be able to contribute to the debate. Now, just to say, this is a book club. Club means people contributing, interacting. So this isn't a speech by me. You didn't come here to hear me speak. You might have come here to hear Dr. Tommie Smith speak. You didn't come here to hear me speak. So even if you haven't read the book or you've started reading it, there are still so many things that you can contribute, talk, shout it out. It's going to be very free-flowing. I've never done this before. I have no idea. It could just be me talking, but hopefully not. Now, our first question was Easy Rawlings. Is he a fool or is he a hero? The reason that question came up is that when we chose the book, we then read it kind of, okay, some of us read it before, some of us hadn't, so we read it. And one of our committee, the book club committee, fundamentally objected not only to Easy Rawlings, but fundamentally objected to us choosing the book at all. Because he thought Easy Rawlings is a fool. Why on earth are we promoting this kind of rubbish? He is exactly what we shouldn't be talking about. And on the other side, there was, what are you talking about, man? This is an early black hero. You know, this is a guy who, I mean, if you know the story, you know, he starts with nothing and he ends up effectively setting up his own business. You know, that's black, that's heroism, especially in that kind of time where you couldn't just go, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, a doctor quite easily. You know, it was hard. So just to survive was almost an act of heroism. So we kind of mulled it over, and eventually we said, okay, well, hey, books are meant to be debated. They're meant to bring topics out. So let's debate that. So Easy Rawlings, is he a hero, is he a fool? Now, for those of you who have read the book, or started reading it, got beyond page 1, let me see a show of hands for whether, or if you've seen the movie, because there's a Denzel movie, yeah, there you go, Denzel, who, actually, we'll discuss that actually, because I don't know whether Denzel was the right person. Yeah, me, yeah. That's how I didn't know if he's the right character. For those of you who've read the book, let me see a show of hands for Easy Rawlings is a black hero. Yeah? Okay.
I mean, that's debatable.
Debate, well, yeah, that's what we're here for. And Easy Rawlins is a fool. Well, one there. Who thinks oh, not there, two hands. Does that mean he's really a fool? Like the worst kind of fool. Bit of both. Well, yeah, bit of both. One of our members, there's him somewhere, is going to read two passages. I didn't edit it for bad language, so I'm hoping he will. He's going to read two passages which kind of show two different sides of Easy Rawlins, who is the lead character of the book, lead character of the movie, which gives an indication into his character, and maybe then we can talk about it and see what we think. Desmond?
Excuse me, before you read that,
yes,
I think your question is wrong. Because
hey, debate.
He's an opportunist. He saw a chance.
Okay. Well, let me come back to you with that. Because the issue that the member of our book club committee had was that, yeah, he saw a chance, but basically for those of you who don't know, I mean, sorry, you're in a book club, the ending's going to be spoiled, so, you know, too bad, right? Still read it, you know, sorry. You can't come here and not hear about the ending. But the devil in the blue dress, the lady, looks, to all intents and purposes, like a white lady. But in fact, she is black or black heritage. And one of the gangsters in the movie is her half-brother. Or in the book, sorry, is her half-brother. And so she goes through the whole life masquerading, in a sense, as purely white. And of course, think about the times. In those times, was it one drop is enough? I don't know what the, you know, it literally was, you got a drop of black blood in you, you are black. And she's masquerading as, I'm not black, I'm white. And her secret comes out and kind of causes trouble. So that's where it is. Now, one of the issues that our member had was that he felt that, yes, he's a hero and all that, but as soon as he meets this, you know, beautiful white woman, he goes crazy and he loses his mind. That was kind of how the story, the thing came out. So,
he didn't lose his mind.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah, because he wouldn't survive.
Let's do the reading. We'll carry it.
I won't try and get into character, so you'll have to forgive me. But I hope you can hear me.
I just noticed there's water dripping from there. It's coming from the ceiling. It's like electrical there. You see it? There's a lot of water dripping. Yeah, it's going to get damaged. It's like a leak somewhere.
The address Albright had given me was a small, buff-coloured building in Alvarado. The buildings around it were taller, but not as old or as distinguished. I walked through the black wrought-iron gates into the hall and a Spanish-styled entrance. There was nobody around. Not even a directory. Just a wall of cream-coloured doors with no names on them. Excuse me, the voice made me jump. What? My voice strained and cracked as I turned to see the small man. Who are you looking for? Here is a little white man wearing a suit. It was almost a uniform. I'm looking for I stuttered. I forgot the name. I had to squint to see that the room wouldn't start spinning. It was a habit I developed in Texas when I was a boy, sometimes when a white man of authority would catch me off guard. I'd empty my head of everything, so I was unable to say anything. The less you know, the less trouble you find, they used to say. I hated myself for it, but I also hated white people, and coloured people too, for making me that way. Can I help you? The white man asked. He had curly hair and a pointed nose. When I still couldn't answer, he said, "We only take deliveries between 9 and 6. No, I said, trying to remember. Yes, we do. Now you better leave. No, I mean. The little man started backing towards a small podium that stood against the wall. I figured that he had a nightstick behind there. Albright, I yelled. What? Call back. Albright, I'm here to see Albright. Albright who? There was suspicion in his eye, and his hand was behind the podium. Mr. Albright, Mr. DeWitt Albright. It's not Albright. Yes, that's him. Are you delivering something? He said, holding out his scrawny hand. No, I have an appointment. I mean, I'm supposed to meet him. I hated that little man. You're supposed to meet him. You can't even remember his name. I took a deep breath and said very slowly, I'm supposed to meet Mr. DeWitt Albright tonight, any time after 7. You're supposed to meet him at 7. It's 8:30 now. He's probably gone. He told me any time after 7. He held out his hand to me again. Did he give you a note saying that you're to come here after hours? I shook my head at him. I would have liked to rip the skin from his face, like I'd done once to another white boy. Well, how am I to know that you aren't just a thief? You can't even remember his name. You want me to take you somewhere in there? Why you could have a partner waiting for me to let him in? I was disgusted. Oh, forget it, man, I said. Just tell him when you see him that Mr. Rawlings was here. You tell him that next time he'd better give me a note, because he can't be letting no street niggers coming in your place with no notes. I was ready to leave. That little white man had convinced me that I was in the wrong place. I was ready to go back. I could find my money another way. Hold on, he said, you wait right there, and I'll be back in a minute. He sidled through one of the cream-coloured doors, shutting as he went. I heard the lock snap into place a moment later. After a few minutes, he opened the door and a crack and waved at me to follow him in. He looked from side to side as he let me through the door, looking for my accomplices, I suppose.
Okay. Now, just a moment, Desmond, so you can carry on. Now, that's a simple situation where he meets someone in authority, in a sense, and he loses his mind, he can't think, he can't speak, he forgets who is there for, forgets what it is, and he was about to basically walk off, not going to achieve what he came to come there for. And the book is littered with those kind of references where he does things which just don't make sense. He can't think straight and do and achieve what he wants to achieve. In a sense, I mean, if you think about what he said there, which is, I just emptied my mind, so basically I couldn't say anything at all. Sometimes, I don't know, what do you guys think in terms of, is that kind of attitude still prevalent now? Some of our youth do that, do they not? School, what do we think?
No, because the climate then was you had a separation of...
You need to speak up. We could try the mic, passing the mic. Yeah,
the climate then was a separation of white and black people. So you didn't know each other's culture. Yeah? And white people were in authority then. And white people tend to denigrate black people, belittle the black people. Or no matter how little the white person was at the time, they made any black person feel smaller.
Still happens today.
Views? I can hear whispering. There's no whispering in there. It's a club. You've got to speak up.
I think it still happens today.
Still happens today?
Yeah.
Yeah? In what context? How?
I think in the school environment, it's still.
Sorry, can everyone hear over there? You might have to speak up.
It's
Yeah,
still happens.
but I don't know whether that is because of the times. That's kind of part of why people say he's a bit of a fool.
What I would say, just from being and being in the teaching sector, is that when you're taught in the environment that you are, you come across a lot of people who've never actually been around, engaged with black people, and then you have these people that are going into these institutions called schools to engage with our children, and that kind of attitude then comes out to our children that maybe, they don't realise, but, we can actually see as individuals, children, as adults, we can actually see it ourselves. So I think it is still quite prevalent in that kind of atmosphere, and I think across the board as well, in the work environment as well.
Actually, for those who have read part of the book, all of the book, how many felt it actually had relevance as a book to today? Yep. Want to say why?
Easy Rawlings falls prey to the setups. Every person within their life goes into. Don't stand up.
Speak up.
Easy rolling falls prey to the setup. Every person in life comes into a setup situation at times where somebody says something expecting you to step forward and put yourself in play for a negative thing to happen to you. And every time, is it Mr. Dwight? Yeah. So Mr. Dwight kind of says it, he kind of falls into it. He sets himself up for the fall every single time. So it's based on his ego, some of it's based on the soliloquy which Mr. Dwight gets into, where he says something without saying it. And Easy Rawlins picks up on it in his subconscious. His voice speaks to him. One of the examples at time it says him bide your time, but he still goes and jumps in towards the end of the book or midway throughout the book.
He's got a voice that
the voice. Yeah. Like for Easy Rawlins, his inner voice is reminding him of the setup. So bide your time. Don't do this right now. His inner voice is guiding him. And then, wow. All right. I'll go back a minute. For Easy Rawlins, I said that in his setup. Wow. For Easy Rawlins, the prevalence of him and today's situation for all of us is the setup. Easy Rawlins' inner voice guides him through the setup situations, and that one big example in the book is where it tells him to bide his time with Mr. Dwight, where he shouldn't jump and get involved in that situation right there and then bite his tongue. But even though he does bite his tongue and not get involved, he still gets involved in the setup situation.
You're speaking low and now you've got the mic. Speak up. Turn the volume down so you can speak into it.
Everyone heard Oli from the front here. You can hear me from here now, right? Yeah. Better. Wow. Where do you want me to start from?
Halfway through.
Alright. For me, how the book is prevalent to today is Easy Rawlins and the setup. All throughout the book, Easy Rawlins is set up by Dwight, who says things for Easy Rawlins to put himself forward to get involved in a particular aspect of the investigation for the devil in the blue dress. Now, in today's society, it's the inner voice for everyone that tells them when and when not to get involved in certain situations. And in the book tells his inner voice tells him to bide his time, when he wants to show Mr. Dwight who he really is and not just this person who's going to do whatever he tells him to do. And in today's society, we come across many situations, and mostly our kids come across this every day in their schools, where you are in a situation where it's supposed to bring out the anger within you. And this is the setup for you, because most of our children fall hook, line and sinker into this, where they allow themselves to get angry in school, they allow themselves to talk back to the teachers, they allow themselves to just get involved in the everyday rigmarole, which allows one person to say you are a negative influence around many others and exclude you from an environment. And for our children in school, the book highlights this very prevalently in the inner voice and the setup scenario that it puts Easy Rawlins through and Mr. Dwight through all throughout the book. And I think if you take note of that, there's many things we should impart to our children just from that aspect of the book all the way through.
Thank you very much. And it's a very good point actually with the inner voice thing in the book. During the book, he's constantly speaking, or his inner voice is speaking to him, things like bide your time and he doesn't. Or things like, you know what, just do it for the money, and he does. So now, Michael seems to me to come from he's a bit of a fool angle, I don't know. Yeah. But let's read another passage, yeah? Let's read another passage that shows a slightly different side to Desmond again. He's going to edit the language this time, right? I didn't get that script. Now that's the flip side. Goes there to kind of after his job back, doesn't feel he's getting the respect, and he demands respect by saying, no, you call me Mr. Rawlins, I'm not going to beg for my job. Walks out feeling great. Now that's another side to it, although even that's a bit hit and miss, because at the end of the day he doesn't get his job. So, any views on Easy now that we've heard a little bit more about him? Hero, fool, oh, someone got their hand up? Nope, I can't see. Who is that? Yeah, go ahead. I can't see if there's someone.
Greetings. Who chose the book?
Sorry,
who chose the book?
Who chose the book?
Yeah.
The book kind of chose itself.
Who chose the book for the book?
Well, actually, the way it happened is that when we got together and we're looking at, and we were trying as much as possible to see how we could facilitate being able to give the books away, rather than people having to buy them on Amazon or whatever. And when we spoke with publishers, we actually got a good deal from the publishers. So that's actually how the book came about practically. But actually, as a book as well, it's a good, easy read. And so what we felt is, you know what, let's go for something that has as many layers as you want to find, which actually for me is the ideal book. It's a book that you can read, young people can read it and enjoy it because, you know, he's kind of a private detective character. You know, people who want to look for something that has a lot of issues, you know, racism at the time, how it applies today, you know, hero, fool, women, we'll come to women and discuss the book and how it treats women. It has those issues as well. So we kind of felt, you know what, on balance, it's an appropriate book.
Okay, I found it very hard to get into. I forced myself to read it. I'm an avid reader anyway. I like to read anything. The children read as well. But I found it very difficult to get into the book. It's very much a brother book. So I think the men can be identified with the nature of the book, the theme, and the content. I couldn't really get into it, although I finished in 2 days.
It's very hard, sorry. Well, we should say one of the specific focuses of this program, it's called Real Black Men Read. I mean, not that we exclude you, but it's actually also designed to make sure that we're encouraged, because there is a view, some may say myth, some may say truth, that black men, black boys don't read or don't read enough. So we created this program specifically to try and encourage that. And we thought, well, locally, let's also choose a book that will speak as well to that demographic. So that's why, that's kind of why this book is as well. But you found it difficult to read. Once you got through it and struggled through it in 2 days.
I wanted to get the prize, yeah? I read this, and I forced myself to read it, and I could understand how the brothers could relate to the character. He's a player, isn't he?
Well, let's move, you know what, let's move on. Let's move on to another issue. Women. Women in the book. How did you find the women in the book in terms of both how they were treated by the writer, Walter Mosley, and how they were featured as characters in the book and treated by the other men?
I mean, for the time it's within context because the issue of passing as white in order to achieve your objective. I don't think he's very sympathetic towards women in terms of the way he portrays them. They weren't very nice characters.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually went through, after I'd read it, I went through back again to try and look for a positive female character. And I couldn't really find one. I don't know if anyone else had a view on that at all.
So if you found that there weren't any positive images of women in the book, then why would it be a good read for boys?
Sorry, I mean...
If you found that there weren't many positive images or text about women in the book, then why would you find this book a good read for boys?
Very good question. I mean, to be honest, that's what but what she said is, if on going through the book, actually when we look at it, there weren't any positive female characters, why is that an appropriate book to say for boys? And that's actually a valid question. I mean,
because it's hard enough for black women today anyway, to get through life, to get through society, to be accepted by black men. So then why would this be something that I wouldn't want my son to read it if it is not
give us a chance to
painting a good picture?
Doesn't that give us a chance to discuss the issues?
Well, maybe it does, but I still think that from
so can I
my
ask
point of view...
whoever's speaking, no problem with interaction, please keep your voice
just
up
from
so
my
everyone
point of view, from what you just said, just speaking, you know, just relating to what you both said, then I wouldn't have this as an introductory book to read to maybe black boys. It's hard enough today to actually get through life finding positive black images of women. You know, so for me, I would question whether it would be a good read for boys.
Yeah, and sir, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just said that it gives us a chance to discuss the issues in an open forum in which to discuss it. And then it gives them the chance to see what's good and what's not.
But then if there's nothing good about black women in there, then what is there to discuss?
We'll look at some of the women in there and actually discuss them.
But then what can you actually put it against if there is nothing positive about black women? What are you going to put it against if there are no other books to put it against? What are you going to, you know, how are you going to use these women to put them against other positive role models?
Possibly you're not reading the book for that purpose. You're reading the book for
Everyone,
that
whoever
purpose.
wants to speak, please project your voice to the furthest part of the room.
I think the point.
What I was saying is
just
that
one second, just one second.
the book in itself, even if it doesn't portray women in the best positive light, possible lights, there's other reasons why you read the book, not necessarily for how it portrays women. You read it for the story, for the character, whether he's a fool or a hero. You take both sides of his character and weigh them up, and then you draw your own conclusions from them. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be all singing, all dancing, doing everything you want it to be. It's there for you to draw from it and then, make a decision or make an opinion, form an opinion.
Okay, just this lady and then.
Just one thing with the book, you have to read it within the context of the times that it's talking about. So if there are negative representations of women, it helps you realise that's what's happening in that context. So it's not a reflection of today, and maybe black boys need to see that's how women were treated then, and open up a discussion to say that's not how women should be treated now. And I think one of the main things about reading a novel is that it helps you to form ideas about what you believe in. So you can read it and be angered by it. It provokes you into being angry, and that's a really positive function that a novel plays. So I don't personally see it as a negative thing that all the women are negative, because it annoyed you, and that's great. Having said that, my children are avid readers. When I was reading the book, the children asked me, "Can we read the book after you?" And I said, "No, it isn't for you." The context of the book and the certain things that happened in there, which I found were negative, agreeing with what the sister said, not for the children.
Yes.
Then I also think that when you read books like this for children, it leads you into conversation, into discussion with them. You want to read it because of its historical value, maybe the fact that it was written by a black man at a time when that kind of thing. But then you have to have a further discussion with them to say, well, that was then and this is now, and what differences do you see? Look around your family, what positive black women do you have in your family? So they're not thinking that's the norm, and we haven't moved on since then, because we have. We have a responsibility to show them that.
Okay, now, thank you. I said I didn't see any positive characters, for positive female characters. That's just an opinion. Let's actually look or discuss Daphne Monet, which is the name of the lady, devil in a blue dress, although her name's actually Ruby Hancock. Ruby, anyone remember? I mean, her real name is Ruby something. I can't remember the final, her surname. Now, she was born looking as she did, and chose a path of, you know what, my life is far better if I embrace that side of things and actually present myself as white. Remember again, this is 1940s, it's not today, it's 1940s. Present myself as white and use that to get what I want. Isn't that positive?
That time maybe it would be more possible for her getting through as what you have said.
Sorry, speak up, sir.
I said at that time, is it 1940s?
Yeah, 1940s.
Yeah, at that time I think I could see her point, like, put on a different color than just to get through. Easier.
It's the mask, isn't it?
Because I mean, if you're black, it was so hard to get through. So pretend to be white then, or, more easier. Maybe doors open.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, that's the point. And then you come back. Yes.
I think one of the interesting things about this is historically, when you got people who did pass for white and managed to become economically rich, they could pass on that wealth to the community anyway. So it's a double-edged sword. To me personally, I think it's quite a negative thing, because you're denying your identity, but at the same time, you're kind of, through a backway kind of way, actually doing something that will in the longer term help the community. I don't know.
I mean, is it actually not a sign of strength to be prepared to do that and then to get what she wanted to get out of life? She was married or engaged to a guy who was going to be mayor. I mean, it messed up in the end for her, but hey, if that had worked out, she's the mayor's wife.
Is it that she wanted to help the community, or she wanted to help herself?
She wanted to.
Is it that she wanted to help the community, or she wanted to better herself and probably forget about where she came from?
Okay, the question was, is it that she wanted to help her community, or she wanted to better herself and forget where she came from? Any views? The side is very quiet. What's going on here? Any views? Is she doing it for herself? Is she making a political point? Is she doing it for the community? Is it a bit of both? Is it
Her
neither?
husband was a white man, innit?
Sorry?
Her husband was a white man.
Her fiance, she was engaged.
Yeah. So why even no black woman doing that now?
Black women doing what now?
I went to
What happened to white men to get
no, not you that, but it's like changing your complexion. For what reason or the other? Cause I went to
I mean bleaching.
I went to one hour bleach and stuff. Why?
That's how Jamaica.
Yeah. No.
That's very sad. That's another story. That's another time as well, not today.
Well, okay, let's give a bit more context. Let's give a bit more context to her particular story, Daphne Monet. She was raped by her father.
Who?
Daphne Monet in the book.
Oh, okay.
Her father used to sleep with her when she was very young, whatever. She was abused. Does that give any context, or does that help to give a bit more dimension to it?
Yes, what colour was her father?
He was black.
You can't date white men as a result of that.
It doesn't say that as a result, but we know her backstory and we know her present.
You're saying she was, so I haven't read the book, but you're saying she's raped by her father.
Yeah.
But basically she looked white anyway.
Yep.
So.
No, but what I'm saying is, how does that fit then with the arguments about, is she doing it for herself, is she doing it for the community? Does it colour it at all? Does it have no bearing, no relevance?
Maybe it's a deeper thing that she even hates herself and hate black now. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yes.
I think it just shows that maybe that colors kind of the way she took on her life view. So she'd survived one thing, so she was going to survive through life by adapting and changing, the best way to suit her. So possibly then that does give her a bit of sympathy in the way she chose to go ahead.
I mean, if we take her, thank you sir, if we take her as, books are extreme representations of life anyway. For all of us who are black, and even if we're not black, living life, do we have to sometimes wear a mask? Be someone different at different times?
Every day at work. You can't go into office and just be yourself. You won't keep your job.
Why not? Yeah, you just say why not there. Why not?
Okay, depending on the way you work, but most in offices, there's office politics. Anyone who works in office can understand that. So you can't just go into office and just be yourself. You have to, it's just ridiculous.
But what does be yourself mean? What would you be if it wasn't an issue?
What would I do differently? Basically, I don't know. I know what I mean. I'm not sure people who work in office know what I mean. As soon as you leave your house and put on your clothes, put on your makeup, and you get to work, it's not the same. My name's Pam. I'm not the same Pam at work that when I'm outside of work. I just do what I want basically. But in the office, there's certain codes, there's certain morals, there's enough office
different
politics.
walk and different talk.
Yeah, you can't be yourself in the office.
You want to be in an environment where you're
Sorry, gentleman in the back.
I don't want to sort of stray away from the fact that we're discussing a book, but just to sort of respond to that. I mean, I think everyone has to wear a mask or whatever, because that's just the world. That's the world of work. I mean,
unless you're self-employed, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And even if you're self-employed, you still do. That's because you've got clients and you've got markets to please, and you've got to do what you can to please them. But I think when you do leave your house and go to work, you're putting on a uniform.
You are. And you're taught that from school.
And that's just part of life. And I think you should be able to adapt.
I think you're taught that from a 5-year-old child upwards at school. Way of discipline.
But I find there's an added dimension to it being black, because I find if I work in an environment that's predominantly white, and any time you have an issue, people think you're being aggressive and trying to, so you have to actually play down, be like really deferential and humble when you approach anything, because otherwise they think, and then they're, oh, look at her attitude, and there is an added dimension.
Yeah, I mean, I think people respond to people's different responses, characteristics, cultures, whatever, but personally, that's both ways. We all have issues at work.
It's true, but it is a stereotype that black women or black men are aggressive, and that is the stereotype that black women and black men face when we go to work.
We have perceptions and stereotypes as well.
Yeah, but our stereotypes don't have the same power in the workforce. Definitely not.
I mean, again, that will change, because if you were, not everyone, if you work, most of us work most likely where in environments where we're not, the majority or whatever it is. But then if you work in an environment where everyone is black, there's different dynamics there. There's
Well, how many
people who are,
environments are there like that in this country? Back home, Caribbean or Africa, but not in this country. There are black people.
Wherever you work, you've always got to wear a mask. You've always got to
I've been here all my life, but I don't know of any companies which are all black.
Yeah, well, it goes where it goes. It goes where it goes. That's what a book is. Okay, but now let's bring it back to the book and the character Daphne, because as I said, we started off saying there's no positive black women in the book. If we think about the fact that we seem to all agree that to some extent we have to be different in different environments, wear a mask if necessary, be slightly different, and then we think about the fact that this is a time, 1940s LA, as we've taught into context. And it's hard enough being black, but it must be doubly hard being a black woman.
In relation to?
In 1940s LA.
Oh, right, yeah. That's why she was supposed to be white.
Does that make her feel a bit better as a positive character, or is she still irredeemable?
To be honest, I think it's a really difficult question for somebody who's born and brought up in the UK to kind of relate to, because in the States, even if you're eggshell white, the fact that you have got a drop of black blood somewhere in the distance, you're black. But that I don't know that person would necessarily actually identify, really look in the mirror and identify themselves as black. So I don't know what goes on in their mind as to are they really, is that I don't know. I don't understand it, to kind of.
I ask from our Bay Area chapter, any comments? Because you're closer to the ground, closer to Los Angeles on this issue.
Well, it's true. I think the image of race in America is certainly different than other parts of the world, because in the past, if any person had a drop of black blood in them, they were considered black. And a lot of that is changing these days. In the upcoming census, when people are asked to identify themselves, they're given several options. They're given the option of being multi-race, and they ask specifically what's your race and your ethnicity. So you could have someone who may have some Norwegian blood in them that may look like cola, and they'll say, well, I'm Norwegian. So the question comes, how do you perceive yourself? But more importantly, like for Brother Tiger Woods, how does the world perceive you? So he may say that he's Asian.
He doesn't even see himself as black. He doesn't even call himself black, so we need to forget him. Oh, right.
One at a time. Carry on.
No. Yeah, so that's what the issue of race in America, I think, has come to now. No matter what you think you are, it's more important in many instances how the rest of the society perceives you. So I could go around and strut, I say I'm Scandinavian, and they'll say, yeah, right. So, yeah, that's about all I have to say about it.
I'll read a short passage. These are words spoken by a character called Mouse. Now, Mouse, Mouse is an original gangster. Mouse is Easy Rawlins' friend that he calls in when he's in a jam. He calls him actually immediately after, I think it's in the part where he's been arrested by police and they've mistreated him. And also DeWitt Albright, who's the white man who gives him the initial job, is also putting pressure on him, and he feels that he needs some muscle. So he calls him Mouse. Now Mouse is a guy, Easy describes him as basically he'll do anything for money. Easy says, and he says it without joking, he would kill me for money, but he's my friend. So he's a bad character. He killed his stepfather, he's killed his stepbrother, and he will shoot anybody because that seems like the easier thing to do. So this is Mouse, and he calls him in. And Mouse helps him through the whole thing. We'll see a little clip actually. What time is it? Oh, 9. In fact, we're going to have to. We'll see a little clip, which I'll show now, which shows Mouse in it as well. But when the whole story has gone through, this is Mouse's observation that he says, which might kind of throw some interesting ideas out here. That's just like you, Easy. You learn stuff and you be thinking like white men be thinking. You be thinking that what's right for them is right for you. She looked like she white, that's Devil in a Blue Dress, and you think like you white. But brother, you don't know that you both Paul N-word, and the N-word ain't never gonna be happy lest he accept what he is. A brother, I'll substitute, ain't never gonna be happy unless he accepts what he is. Yes, no, makes sense, make no sense? Someone who hasn't spoken before, hold on. Anyone? Over to you, sir.
It makes a lot of sense.
Why?
Nobody who doesn't recognize themselves for who they are. Can you all hear me? Right. Nobody who doesn't look at themselves for who they truly are has the power to do anything in life. The one thing about we as African descendants, and the one thing that this book definitely shows everybody, is that those in the book who run away from themselves, the Daphne Monet, John Stacey, the Lily White girl, the French girl, they run away from themselves because they're ashamed of this. This lady in front here who talks about being a different face when you go to work, being a different face when you leave the house. This is all part of the game. Every single time you take a step like this and move away from yourself, you are weaker. The game is about standing still. Recognize yourself in every single context, who you are. Understand every ounce of the blood that flows through your body carries a power that most people don't understand. This book talks about it in the inner spirit. This book talks about the weakness that we go through in those who run away from themselves. This book talks about the game where people say we have to be a different face and be weaker in ourselves, in those people who try to be white, in those people who try to suck up to the white. This book talks about all of that, which is why when it says it's true about those who are weaker and they don't know who they are. Yes, it is. And this book talks about it.
Just as a final thought on that, I want to imagine what level of self-acceptance, self-esteem, and self-knowledge that Dr. Tommie Smith must have had to make the stand that he made throughout not only his life, but also obviously in the Olympics, and that iconic gesture that he made. Thank you again, sir, for being here. It's much appreciated. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to show a very short clip from the movie, and then, if you will indulge, there is refreshments. Yes. But if you indulge, I think actually it would be better if we heard from Alex Wheatle as our kind of final part of this, because in fact one of the things that's very relevant is Alex's own story, which is pretty phenomenal as well. So let's show a very short clip from the movie. Thank you all very much for your contribution. Alex will be a while, and then we'll have refreshments and look at the stalls as well. Okay, thank you very much.
As well as featuring our own American author, we thought it's important to actually bring to you live today one of our own British authors. It's important that we make the connection with our own British authors here in this country. So basically our author is Alex Wheatle. We actually met him earlier on this evening. Described as the Brixton Bard, London-based, Alex Wheatle MBE is an award-winning author whose novels have been described as authentic, witty and gritty. He was born in London, of Jamaican parents. He's the author of several books, and these include Brixton Rock, East of Acre Lane, The Seven Sisters, Checkers,
Island Songs, The Dirty South, and his most recent book, published this year, is Brenton Brown. He's received an award, London Arts Board New Writers Award, Brixton Rock. Tonight, he's going to read a couple of excerpts from his new book, and he'll be available to sign copies this evening. So really, over to Alex, and he will take some questions afterwards as well.
Right, I wasn't always an author. 3-4 days, Monday night. I live on Lavender Hill in Clapham Junction, and the kids went wild down there. What alarmed me the most was the age of some of the young girls. It was what, 11, 12, 13. And it reminded me of a lyric I used to spin way back in the late 70s, early 80s in blues dances and youth clubs or whatever. So I'm going to open up with that this evening. That lyric went, your daddy say you must not stay out late, tell her, car little girl, it's getting late and you are underage. So very soon you'll come of age, and that's the beginning of our date. But your daddy say you must not stay out late, tell her. And the Brixton crowd, I don't know if anyone is here tonight, we used to go to those kind of places, but a Brixton crowd would do this, and they poke out their tongue like this. So that meant you had to repeat the lyric while rolling your tongue. And I haven't done it for a long time, but it sounds like, your dad did say, your little mother's not a city, or let it tell her. It's getting late every time you are under the age. So I'm very sorry. You'll come over the age, and that's the beginning of our day. But your dad did say, your little mother's not a city, or let it. Right, I was born way back in 1963, and there was much difficulty with my family circumstances. And so at the age of 3, I was sent to a children's home. And in those days, Lambeth didn't have the space to house all the children within Lambeth, so you were carted out to the countryside. And so I grew up near Coulsdon, in Surrey, near not too far from Gatwick Airport, Croydon way. And it was very white, kind of dominated really, and I grew up in this horrible place. It had kind of 80 type mansion houses, about 20 kids in each house, 10 boys, 10 girls, dormitories, and it was all Dickensian. I remember scrubbing stone steps and collecting coal from the coal bunkers for the coal fires. It was very strict, and you got beat up every day, and there's lots of sexual abuse going on, lots of physical abuse going on, and it had its own junior school. And so I wasn't allowed out of the grounds until I was 11. And you know, by the time I was 11, I was very bitter, very angry. I remember they used to send me to see psychiatrists, and they had these words in the late 60s and early 70s, labelling black children as maladjusted. I don't know if any of you remember that, always maladjusted. And for some reason, you see the psychiatrist and always ask you to take off your clothes and all that. You know, it was horrible, horrible, horrible. And so by the time I went to secondary school in the same area, I was obviously treated very badly by the teachers there. They thought I was an idiot. And so that began my expulsion from schools. I got into fights. I got expelled from one school, went to another school, got expelled from that. And by the time I was 14, they wasn't sure what to do with me. And I was sent back to Brixton after this really crazy fight I had with this kid. And I didn't even know what Brixton meant. By that time, I'd been so brainwashed that when I saw a Tarzan film on the TV, I was cheering for Tarzan when he used to beat up all the black guys. You know, that's where my mind was. And with this mindset, I went to Brixton. Elm Park, opposite Brixton Prison, funny enough. A social services hostel. And I was going to be tutored because I wasn't going to school anymore. I haven't had any formal education since I was 14. And I was tutored 3 days a week. And I was told by my social worker of the duties I have to perform. I have to learn to cook, I have to learn to clean, all that kind of stuff. And the last thing my social worker said before he went away, he said, "Alex, do not go down to the front line." And I said, "What's the front line?" And he said, "It's this really bad place where lots of black people hang out and deal out drugs and this and that." And And you know, you don't really say that to someone who's 14. Because I thought, really? You know? And so as soon as he was gone, they had a secure door, but you know, I was agile, I could get out the window. And so out the window I went, and in my best Surrey accent, I asked, excuse me please, where is the front line? And the thing was, I did not, you know, growing up in the Surrey countryside, I'd never come across Jamaican patois before. And I met a couple of Jamaicans on Elm Park, Leander Road, and they said, oh, we're on the corner, so, oh, there, what? I didn't have a clue. But finally, I found out where the front line was, and it captivated me. You know, for the first time I heard deep bass line, I thought, what's that? You know, it was like earthquake going on. You know? What really impressed me was the red, gold and green doors. Red, gold, green, red, gold, green. It was very Jamaican, very kind of Rasta, you know, dominated. And I loved all that. And the music, the Rastas, just the whole vibe of it. You know, I just loved all that. So really, I did not spend too long in my hostel waiting for my tutor to come round. I was always on the front line. And this is where I was recruited, really. I was recruited by one of the crime lords in Brixton, you know. And it was exciting, you know, working for this guy. And I used to be a runner for him. I used to be a lookout for him. And now and again, I have to admit, I used to deal weed in the blues dances on the front line, town hall dances in Brixton Town Hall. Sometimes he'd drop me off to Norwood Hall in West Norwood. Where else? All over the place. He would drop me off in his 3.5 Rover. Remember those? And he used to give me all these bags of, you know, merchandise, and I would sell it for him. You know, that was my life for 2-3 years until 1981 when the riots broke out in Brixton. I was involved in that, you know, and it was an incredible time. On a Friday, I remember I was in a pub in Brixton Hill. A guy come running in, and he said, "Babylon burn." And so the rumour went round that this guy, I think his name was. I think his nickname was Biscuit. That's why I got Biscuit, for those of you who know East of Baker Lane. And so the rumour went round that the police stabbed the guy. And because of the environment of the day, you know, the feelings of the day, everyone believed this. And we never went to bed, stayed up, and we was going to make a stand on a Saturday. And as you know, it kicked off big time on a Saturday. And it was a bit different from what happened over the last 3 days, because we was really determined. You know, because all the beatings they'd given us, I mean, by that time I've been beaten so many times by the police, I didn't know what day it was. You know, it was, I mean, they were torturing in Brixton Police Station, Borough Police Station, Camberwell, they were torturing. And actually admitted it, just on, I don't know if any of you heard a radio reunion show with Sue McGregor. There was a couple of policemen there, Peter Blexley, he actually admitted the torture that they used to do on black youths. You know, it's serious torture. That's what we was going through. No one believed us. And so Brixton blew up. And I remember, one of the funniest memories I have at that time is a child, maybe not older than yourself, sir. He was, you know, no older than you, and he picked up a melted policeman's helmet. That always stuck in my mind. I remember writing a little poem about it. And again, it's never, you know, it's always good to keep what you write, because 20 years later it made it into a book. That image of a child picking up a melted policeman's helmet, that stayed with me. But unfortunately, the good times didn't last. 3 weeks after the Brixton riots, I was arrested. The police come and mash up the hostel, the floorboards, everything, chucked us all in the beast van, as we used to call it, took us down Borough Police Station, beat us up there, and then we was up against the judge or the magistrate a couple of days later. And I was sentenced to 7 months for causing an affray. And I remember when I was in the police station, I said, it wasn't me, I'm in the Cubs, I'm going to church. 2 days later, they came with this big brown envelope, and it was of me. And I was in a pose like this with a brick. And so, off to Welwood Scrubs, I went. And this is when you have time in your hands. When you're hustling on the street, you haven't got time to think about families. Because at that point, I did not know any of my family, you know. But when you're alone, when you're sitting in that security van, you have to slide in like that because it's enclosed above your head and above your knees. You have time to think. And I was looking at the wiring around the kind of little window, and I was thinking, if I could pull that off, I'll just wrap it around my neck and just hang myself. Because I really couldn't see no future, no hope. I really couldn't. Anyway, they took me to Wormwood Scrubs, and I felt even worse because they pushed me into the cell, and something just hit me, a smell hit me. And I thought, what the hell is that? I kind of focused my eyes, and there was a bed, a bunk bed, and there was a Rasta man sitting on top. He looked about 50 odd. He had long grey locks, he had half a closed eye, and looked at me like this. I thought, oh Lord, I'm going to die. The smell was a bucket, because being a Rasta, he was idle. He had trouble with their food, and so he had a problem. If you get me, he had a problem, because in those days there were no flush toilets. If you wanted to do your business after 7 p.m, you had to use the bucket, and that's where the smell was coming from. And so I'm trying to rush through this, and so I remember going to sleep that night, and I just couldn't sleep. Every time you sniffed. And what was worse, about 2 o'clock in the morning, when I finally tried to nod off, I saw his long skinny hand reach down through his King James Bible, and he started to open it. And when he started to talk through the Bible, and when he started to chant, by the rivers of Babylon, come on, where we sat down, Rastafari, the country line of the tribe of Judah. He did this every night. He did this every night. So by the 7th day, I was a physical, nervous wreck. I remember going to the prison canteen like this. Must kill the dread. Must kill the dread. And so that night I said, if he starts shouting, I don't care if he's older than me. He was about 50 odd. I don't care. I'm going to bust him up. I can't get this in. And so that night, he was quiet. He was quiet up until about 5 o'clock. And then I saw his long hand pick up the King James Bible. I said, what? Do you want the money? As soon as he got to the money, I jumped up and I tore him down, and we had the mother of fights. I mean, you can probably guess by now that I've had quite an unlucky life. I mean, how was I supposed to know that he knew karate? I've had some beatings in my life. And he was one of those, it wasn't like Bruce Lee karate, he was like, you know the karate where you use elbows and knees? Like, like that. Teeth were always there, my nose was always there, lips there, mash up. And I remember, I have to admit this, I cried like, I screamed. It wasn't like a man cry, I sniffed, I screamed because I wanted the wardens to hear me so I could get out of this hellhole. And it wasn't happening. The wardens walked by and they were just laughing. And the dread was laughing. Don't mess with the dread, Jah. Rastafari, the country line of the tribe of After a while, he sat down beside me. I was sitting next to the pile of, the bucket thing. And he said, what is wrong with you? And I said, what's wrong with me, man? You bust me up. I was in a state. And after, he wanted to know my life story. I told him about, my kind of parents abandoned me. I was in a children's home. It was horrible. I worked for this crazy crime lord on the front line, and I've got myself in trouble. Now I'm in prison with you. And then he said the sentence that probably changed my whole life. He said, what about your education? And I said, I didn't go to school since I was 14. Boom! You must educate yourself. And the next day, he took me to the prison library. I recommend this book to you. And he took me out a book, The Black Jacobins by C.L.R. James. Fantastic book. And that is how I served my sentence. I read that book, and I think I read Native Son after that, Richard Wright. I read Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison. I started to educate myself. And so, by the time I came out of prison, the dread said to me, you have to carry on, Alex. You started off good, you have to carry on with your education. So make sure, you carry on your reading. And I said, well, I ain't got no money. He said, go to the library. I've never been to the library in my life, but, go to your local library, and there's books there, and books are free. And so, the second day of my release, I went to Brixton Library with 2 black bin bags. Books are free, right? And so, I was walking through the aisles. And a librarians look at me like this. What's the problem, man? Books are free, And I started to, I just got a reading bug. And also, I got the DJ bug as well, because I had to, you know, I don't know why in those days, but all the nice girls seemed to go out with the DJs. And I thought, I want some of that, you know? And so me and my friends, we kind of built a sound system. We called it Crucial Rocker. We didn't have too much money to build it, so we had to make some nighttime visits to warehouses and stuff, but let's not talk about that. And so I remember I wanted to be the DJ, so my friends told me, Alex, you better be prepared, you know, you better write your lyrics and stuff. But I thought, nah, I'll wing it, you know, cool. And we had a house party on Elm Park. You know, it was swinging, packed, you know, playing Dennis Brown, Gregor Isaacs, and then threw me the microphone, Alex, entertain the crowd. Oh no, no lyrics. Oh damn, what am I going to do? So I did a little dance. Dennis Brown, you know, combination too. And he came to me like this. It was embarrassing to start to heckle me and throw his paper cups and whatever. The Brixton crowd is very hard to satisfy. I've got 5 minutes. Okay, let me rush this forward. You have to see my uprising show to get the full story. Okay, but let's get back to how I got to be a writer. Now, when I was in a children's home, I had a best friend, mixed race boy, was the same age as me. And he was like me, he didn't know any of his family. But in those days, social services would sometimes move you for no reason. And one night they came, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, and they marched to my friend's bed, and they woke him up and they said, get washed, get changed, you're coming with us right now. And he had no choice in the matter. He had to go. I did not see him until about another 20 odd years or so. I saw him in a poetry jam in the Brixtonian Bar on Acre Lane. And I was doing a performance, and I saw him, I couldn't believe it, I dropped the microphone, and I walked over to him, and I hugged him, as you do, as an old friend. And he told me what happened to him. They took him to a children's home near Seacup in Kent somewhere. And he said things are going well for him, he had a job, you know. And the last thing he told me, he just met this lovely girl. 6 months down the line, I get a phone call from him, and his voice is shaking, and then the phone went dead. I speeded round to his house. His door was hanging off the hinges. There's hammer marks in the door. In the hallway, there's hammer marks in the hallway too. In the kitchen, the fridge was on its side, there's eggs and food on the floor. The front room, his coffee table that he made with his own hands was smashed up. All the windows were smashed. And I thought, oh my God, what's happened to him? I ran into his bedroom and there he was, sitting down like that, covering his eyes. And I said, what's wrong? Alex, I can't tell you, I can't tell you, I can't tell you. I just can't tell you. And this toed and fro for the next half an hour. You know, it got kind of violent, well not violent, but I got very frustrated because he's not telling me what it is. And then finally, as I was about to leave, he said, it's the girl, it's the girl. I thought, what, you mashed up your place over a girl, you crazy? Alex, you don't understand, Alex, you don't understand. What do I not understand? The girl, what? And then he said it, the girl is my sister. His half sister. He told me the story that him and this girl were getting close. The girl took him home for Sunday dinner. The father wasn't around that much, but he came on this Sunday, and all throughout the dinner, the father was looking at him kind of hard, and the girl and the mother were washing up, and the guy asked him, what is your full name? My friend told him his full name, and then he asked him, what is your date of birth? My friend told him his date of birth, and he said, you're one of my 14 picnics. And he freaked out. Went to his place, smashed it up. And that's where I found him 2 days later. I tried to draw him out of this depression. He lost his job, he couldn't go out, he felt people was laughing at him. And by that time, when I was writing, people were saying to me, Alex, you should write a book about your, about your experiences and stuff. But I always resisted that because I felt my grammar and my English, because I was unschooled, wasn't good enough. But he was the one who said, Alex, you should write a book, write a book about us. And that's what I did. I made a character called Brenton Brown, which is a mixture of me and my best brethren. And it was a struggle to write. At first I wrote it in longhand. I didn't have a typewriter or anything. So I had to redraft it, get a typewriter and stuff. It took me 4 or 5 years because I didn't really know what I was doing. And so that is how I became an author, and it's still in print today, 12 years later. And I've always been asked, Alex, where's the sequel? Well, the sequel was published 3 or 4 weeks ago. In between that, I've written 5 other books, and my books have been translated. I'll go here, there, everywhere, give inspirational talks, not not just in this country but abroad. And I think my time's up. This is me. I want all of us to thank you, Alex, for not only for what you said, for actually just being here. I know you've got a lot of other places you could be. Fantastic that you do this. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. That's the end of proceedings formally. There is a raffle, which I'm going to ask Alex to do the drawing out the prize. But before we do, just so you know what we're raffling, it's a Kindle. Wow. Yes. Wow. Now, Kindles are brilliant. I have got one. If you want to get anyone into reading, get them a Kindle. Don't get the iPad, whatever. Sorry, Steve Jobs. Get the Kindle. Yes. Where are the raffle tickets? I'm going to give 3 minutes now for everyone to buy a ticket.
Where are they?
They are there. Go and get your money right now. We're going to raffle in 3 minutes. In 3 minutes. Buy your ticket because there's very few tickets in there, which means you have a very good chance of winning. Buy your tickets now. Run, run, run. Kindle, seriously. If you don't read or you know somebody who needs to get into reading, get it. It is fantastic. You can read it anywhere. You can store like 3,000 books on it. You can play music on it. You can get your newspapers on it. You can, yeah. So please. So without much further ado, who's got a drum machine? Give me a drum machine. Oh, sorry. I better hold it. And you better close your eyes so that you don't pull out my ticket. Alex, please draw the winning raffle ticket. 242. Collect your prize. Green. Picture was.
You've never made anything.
There you go. There's a picture over there, please. Kindles are great. Kindles are great. It only remains to say we are a charity. We are completely self-funded. Please, aside from filling out your forms, getting the refreshments, please consider whether you can donate and support what we do. We all have other jobs and families. We all do this for love, not money. We all in fact pay to be members, but we need to raise funds to support what we do. Whatever you can donate, there's Friends of the 100 forms, which are our standing order forms which you can do and fill out. We can do online donations through our website. You can simply give cash, fill out a donation form. Anything you can do, please support what we do because we have to carry on.
Get your email, so I didn't know anything about how to join the book club.
Well, this is the first event, so you've joined. Well done, you remember. And part of what we're going to do with your questionnaires that you fill out and your evaluation is to work out how we go. And we're looking to have another event like this towards the end of the year, and we've got all the registration details which we will email you. But you are all part of our 100 book club. We're going to try and continue things online as well, and perhaps send out a book a month and say this is our chosen book, things like that. Thank you. Yeah, if you're interested in being a member or a volunteer, please speak to our membership desk over there. Thank you all so much. It's the first of its kind for us, and we hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
And that's what I feel.
Jacqueline.
Okay, and you are here today, madam?
I'm here to promote Lion Jaw. All proceeds are for charity. Proceeds go to the Lambi Fund, which is a charity that raises money for Haiti.
Very good. Thank you very much. Let's wait till you contact me. It's been a long time, isn't it?
Thanks very much.
We'll send those pictures too far.
This is just a selection of all in one book.
Yeah, I think he said that. But I think he said you get this one. You get more. When you catch a new piece. I'll give you a big slice of cake. I don't even know. I should know. Yeah, she can stand with us. Let's
Okay, take it away.
Hi, we're from Sickle Cell Society and we'd be grateful of any help that anybody wants to offer as a volunteer for the Sickle Cell Society. Please go onto the website www.sicklecellsociety.org.
We really hope that you visit the website and help us in any way you can. Thank you very much.